Yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
So you're prepared also?
No, it's like Susanne's statement, and because she cannot be here, for us it's very important that she is also a part of this, because, but let's... Thank you very much, everyone, that you're here and watch our movie. We really... Thank you so much,
So, welcome again to the 74th edition of the Locarno Film Festival, and welcome to the press conference of Luzifer by director Peter Brunner, who is next to me, and together with him we have Franz Rogowski.
Sorry, I have to do it because it's like,
So thank you for accepting our invitation and being here to present the film as a world premiere. So I would like to open the press conference with a question to Peter, because you opened the film with these words that the film is inspired by real events. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about what's the real part and what's the real story that you were inspired by, and which are then maybe the fictional elements that you added to it.
Thanks for the question. I think it's a very difficult question, because there is always something, ideas that some people think you have an idea or anything, and I'm more convinced of this thing, that there is this unified field with ideas, and they have you and you're hunted by them, and they try to smash your head, and you have to protect yourself that you're still in a shape where you can translate these ideas into a song or a film or whatever it is, or into a relationship. And with this film, it was for me something. In the research of my first feature film, My Blind Heart, I came, because it was about a matricide in the center of the film, I was researching this kind of stuff, and I found this true story. And because of my upbringing and my mother, who was in a way trapped in kind of a religious thing, and my father pulled her out, she still kept this kind of spirituality, and it was for me always puzzling in my whole life, being connected to people and loving people who have a certain kind of stance to religion. So this story connected with me on this side, but then there was also the side of, and I'm always looking for films where you have this mad love, where there is a mad love in the center. And to me, I wanted to know, because if there is this tagline, for example, you always have these taglines in news and stuff where there is something very simplified. And for example, Franz yesterday was speaking with us at dinner about Susanne, and he was speaking like 3 minutes, something very precise about the contradictions of working with her and the beauty of working with her. But if you compress it to this, it's out of context. And for me, it's like this story that I read was, I knew that there is something deeper in there which was hunting me. And what I was needing so bad were collaborators like Franz and Susanne and Ulrich Seidel and Peter Flinkenberg or Tim Hecker with the music, where we would have the chance to dive into something where we find hopefully some truth in there and a dialogue with an audience, because I think it's like with Boyce said, 70% is the audience and 30% is what we can do, and I hope, this story creates a dialogue now, and yeah.
Yes, please.
La faccio in italiano. Allora,
Yes.
Perfetto. Allora, intanto grazie per il film, perché è un film che ti inquieta, che ti dà la possibilità di pensare, è un film che ti dà il coraggio di andare avanti, è un film importante perché fa cinema. Detto questo, ho trovato importante questa favola ecologica nera, questo amor fou che non si apre. Volevo sapere quanto lei pensava che la favola andasse verso l'ecologico, o era intenzionale l'idea di fare un film che, bene o male, ha a che fare con il nostro mondo, con un'ecologia del nostro mondo, con l'incapacità che abbiamo di accettare gli altri. Questa è una domanda. La seconda domanda è: come hanno recitato insieme il gufo reale e Franz Rogowski.
Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for this question. Again, it's a very difficult thing, and I think the second part of how the relationship in the work between the actors and the frame and the pre-work, I think it's very interesting what Franz has to say about this, maybe if he wants to. And the first part about the environmental thing, I think we live now in a time, where it's like this: when you are loyal to the topic and loyal to the characters and loyal to the essence of the story, and you follow, and this was our intention, follow these characters in a hopefully truthful way. These other stuff plays in because it's set in the here and now. It's not set in some fairy tale universe, It's in the here and now. So digitalization, automation, and neoliberal capitalistic things are part of this. Of course, in research, we found these things with the drones, which interested me very much, because there is an indifference, in my opinion, from nature to us, but then we are part of nature. Nature is within us, and there is this indifference from technology, looking at us. And this was, I think, like the mirror and behind the mirror thing, which is interesting to me, but anyway, this is not something to explain, it's just something that was haunting me as a topic, But with the landscape and with the character and the environmental thing, I think the landscape is very much, we don't own this landscape. This landscape has history in it. And it's like the person you should look up, which is the most interesting person talking about our relationship to landscapes, is Anselm Kiefer, and I really love him, But maybe you, Franz, because he was asking for the casting in this. We had one, the casting and your relationship with Susanne and how the work was. Because yesterday we spoke about this video that we saw in a casting process where we didn't quite know with whom we want to go or something, and I showed Franz like a recording of Susanne.
Yeah, I think all the actors and performers come from very different backgrounds. We have Suze, who is a priest, or how would you say that?
A pastor.
A pastor. Maybe one day she'll be a priest, and she was used to perform beforehand because she's performing every day in front of a crowd. She's also a painter, she's a writer, so she was used to authorship beforehand quite a lot. Then we have the eagle. The eagle is not performing anything, but it's a very strong existence in front of the camera. Then we have the strongman that have a professional sport background and have a very physical presence. We have the mountains and all the things we project into it and the elements. So I think for me as a professional actor, it has been a very unique experience to interact with a lot of performers that are not coming from a professional background of decoding a script, but are rather filled with real-life experiences and bring their own biographical body into the scene. They're kind of not able to lie, and therefore they're very strong. And if you guide them well, I think they just have to be in a position where they can trust and let the things happen that are already within them. And I think my task often was to maybe guide that process also a little bit with Peter together. So there would be one actor in the scene that is capable of, let's say, manipulating a little bit, also listening maybe a little bit more, and just being a part of an atmosphere. And the other performers, they would just bring their whole life story with them, and that was an incredible experience. Yeah.
But could you, Peter, talk a bit more how did you do the casting in the sense of were you thinking about Franz, for instance, when you were working on the screenplay.
Yeah, he was thinking about me for a long time.
And how did you find Susanne, because she's not an actress?
No, you know, I was very lucky after we sent the script to Franz that we got a very fast kind of emotional response to it. Let's meet up and test, you know, how it is to talk to you. And
I remember we met in a bar in Berlin, and I would go to my wardrobe and wear a leather pants that I never wear because I thought if I wear the leather pants, maybe I can be part of a mountain movie.
No, but the thing is, like Franz said it before, it was something, you know, with the eagle. What we wanted was not like some kind of a weird flying construction thing that you see in advertisements. What we were looking for is a real connection to an animal in a way that there is, I mean, an eagle is not a dog, but if you have it like Theo has them, he has 10 golden eagles, thank you, and there is like a certain love and connection that has a very different quality, because eagles don't show their pain or their sickness. They will, till they die, be very, very like, they don't show the weakness. So it's a very specific thing to be in a relationship with them. And I, myself, know nothing about it, because this was like Franz, for 1 year in some episodes, were going to Theo, who has these stone eagles, and they had their own relationship, and he was working with one bird in particular, I think, but like this was something we were looking for. And with the casting with Susanne, it was also something where we were interested in a process together to find someone who embodies faith, who embodies a real backstory that is in a way a backstory of someone who realistically would try to protect her son and go into nature and find with this innocence of a baby a place where she protects him from something that she lived through. And so we needed collaborators who spent 1 month before together with us at one farm where he chopped trees and where we rehearsed the behavior in a way, and where it was crazy because each film has its own thing, but what Susanne brought into it in the process with Franz in the rehearsals and stuff. For example, yesterday, maybe this fog story. I love this fog story because at one place we went up to the mountain to the Statue of Mary, near our shooting place, principal photography place, and suddenly the fog came, and I don't know, there was something that these two found there coming out of the fog. I don't know, maybe you want...
Yeah, as Peter mentioned, there was a lot of preparation process, also like creating experiences together, and Peter never shared his favorite scenario with us, which would be that we, the two of us, me and Suze, get lost and we find our own way together as a couple in the mountains. So we would go up on that hill and the fog would arrive, and actually it got so foggy that we couldn't even see the statue anymore. And then it got so foggy that we couldn't even see Peter anymore.
And they were lost like for 2 hours.
Yeah, we heard his voice, and like, I mean, we've heard his voice for like weeks, and he was our mentor. And then his mentor got further away, and Suze is a slow walker. She's very carefully walking. So I stayed with her. I had always had my head close to her shoulder because it was part of our research. And then Peter's voice was gone, and we were up in the mountains in this fog where you couldn't even see your own hands. And I would guide her because I felt like, okay, I have to guide her. But I guided her in the completely wrong direction. So the further we got away from home, let's say, the closer we got as a couple. And our journey maybe lasted for 1.5 hours, but it felt like an entire day. Just me and her in this bubble of cloud, almost like in a womb, being with each other. And I think that's kind of symbolic for the movie. It was not really about creating a fiction as an actor, but being in the reality that we've created by choosing these actors, by working the way we worked, and also facing the elements that were so strong, the rain, the light, the cold, like, I don't know, taking an ice bath at 1 in, but not just once, but do it like 15 times and see how the body reacts, and not act that it's cold. It is really fucking cold. So we were always looking for the physicality of something that is real, and then the fiction is maybe created beforehand and after in the editing. But me and my mom, let's say in the movie, we were not looking for fiction. The first day I met her, she would come very close to my face. She would smoke cigars. She really does smoke cigars all day. And she would say, "You are my son now, and I don't want you to play that. I want you to be my son. I don't have a son, and for this shooting, I want you to be my son." So it was clear from day one that we are mother and son.
But I think it must be so difficult in the shoes of an actor to be then confronted with someone who forces this on him. But we knew this before, but then also to really be in it for that time. I think I'm very thankful that we could have this frame in a way. And with Susanne, you know, like Franz said, maybe I can read something that she wrote because I want her badly, or we want her badly to be a part of this. Because she, I cannot read good, but are you interested in this? Yeah?
Yes.
Because she said, as a teenager, I was mad about film. I dreamed myself into heroic adventures. As a severely traumatized person, immersing myself in these fantasy worlds helped me survive. At that time, I wanted to become an actress, to be able to experience this finally as a female lead at the age of 55 was a dream come true. So I was very keen to know the members of this crew and talk to them about their profession. Two aspects of the content were particularly appealing to me. Part of my role as a mother was to embody true faith. This had immediately fascinated me when I got to know about the film project. It immediately reminded me of my own years as a fanatic Catholic, because this is also something that she had. She's not only in the Lutheran Evangelic Church, she had this phase too. The role of Mary, is the second point, is fundamentally about motherhood. It's a very different kind of mother, I think. The idea of feeling my way into being a mother to a mentally handicapped adult son for 3 months really spoke to me. I'm quite a motherly type. And the great sadness about my life is that because of the violence done to me, I couldn't have children myself. And this is just something that was her motivation in a way. And I still think, you know, we would love her to be part here, but she is just in her as very much, you know, determined to her job, taking care as a pastor for the people that she has to soul condolence, and she has to educate, and you know, she has responsibilities to people who suffer, and we have to respect this. But she's there somewhere.
She is, yes, and I mean, you were a true friend and a guide in this movie. Sometimes also the enemy, but that's always the case, I think. But Suze was also a coach to me. She would every morning meet with me before shooting and talk with me about my true motivations, like what I want to be, what I don't want to be, why I pretend to be something. So it was a very interesting, edgy approach towards the role, when we would really look for actually who we are. And at the same time, the son is supposed to be a bit handicapped, so it was very interesting to also find a way to act handicapped that is not representing a handicap, or let's say the features of a handicapped performance, but to find a very elementary and basic connection to limitation and love that would allow the two views, the 2 points of view, and also fulfill her needs and make my mother happy.
Yes, please, we have a question here. Yeah, sure.
Thank you for this incredible film. I'd like to know something more about the visual world that you built, because you mentioned Anselm Kiefer, but I also would like to know something about the cinematic world you refer to. Especially, I had in mind, it's obvious, but the relationship between the eagle and the boy in Ken Loach's first film. And yeah, obviously, I'm thinking about that. So could you tell us a bit about your inspiration, your visual inspiration? Thank you.
Well, the visual inspiration was very much like something naturally progressing from the films I did before. There is a certain kind of thing that I feel intuitively drawn to, and it's something where I cannot describe it in words. It's difficult, but you know, there is a love for certain kind of things that inspire me visually. It's like when I was a child, like all of the paintings by Hieronymus Bosch and stuff like this, you know, and Francis Bacon, for example, I really love. And you can go on forever with these people who inspire you, but I think it was a natural development also with the long casting process of the cinematographer. And I think with Peter Flinkenberg and our operator Robert, there was a team built where we really could execute something very difficult in a mountain shoot like this, because there is not only, you know, trying to get together a documentary way. It's like, you know, if you look at the Dardenne brothers movies, you can say, oh, it's all handheld and blah blah, but it's like weeks of research, so precise, and but also so open with the actors, and it's its own beast, and I admire it a lot. But what we tried to do was like connecting different kind of languages, which become like one body in a way. And yeah, of course there is like, I don't want to interpret it too much, but of course there went such a long time into searching for the right crew who can execute something that is very particular. And it's not, you know, I say, like in these Robert Altman movies, when he starts suddenly to move the camera and zoom all the time because he loved the motion. I think you can say this, but probably had a deeper thought in it. But here it's not the movement and you know the stream and the thing for the sake of moving. It's something, you know. To me, it was also searching for something spiritual in a way within, and trying to use different kinds of this buffet of languages, and probably also from the table of transcendental style. What can I do with it that helps our movie to have a stronger dialogue with an audience, hopefully. And you know, it was very much then an intuitive thing, what you do, because of course everything was planned and there was a Bible to it, but then you have to get rid of it, you know, like Bresson says, and I think he's very right with this, that you have to find your own thing with the people you work on the picture. And it's informed by the environment, by the animals, by Franz, how he feels on the day, with the scene, by Susanne, you know, by everyone in a way, and we have to adapt, because if the wood is too stiff, you know, and it's too hard, it breaks, and we tried to, sometimes it's broke, you know, but then we had to come up with different solutions. And I think, you know, it's, yeah, there are big possibilities in cinema to, yeah, I don't know, to find your own thing, and hopefully there is something within it that translates to an audience in a yeah.
Asking this question to Peter is like asking an encyclopedia, what's your favorite book? It's like he knows so many things. I don't know how he does it, but he knows basically every movie in the world.
I just love films, and I know
and
nothing if
every
I talk
book
to
and
other
every
people,
painting and every music. So I think you need to ask him that question again, maybe tonight at the party, and he'll give you a 2-hour detailed answer, I'm sure.
So thank you. I think we don't have more time for questions, but maybe Peter, you wanted to read something else?
I want to read one more from Susanne, because, you know, she's not here, and I just want to honor her. And I think what's interesting is like this last question. They can probably, what did he bring? Basically, no, I think this is, because we talked already about the relationship with Franz, because here's something. How much of your own biography did you bring into the role, and what did you not bring consciously or unconsciously? She said, basically, I was an open book during the preparation for the film and the shoot. In everyday life, I don't like pretending to be someone I'm not. Susanne Jensen only exists in the original. I state my opinions very clearly, and she does. In the film, I gave the mother all my emotions and physical frailty. My tears in front of the camera came largely from what I call my childhood maze of hell, the darkest time of my life. it was equally important for me to put the intensity of my own existential fate into the role. I was able to bring my artwork, my artistic offspring, like my art children, she always said, into the film in a special way, because her paintings and her artwork is part of the set decoration. Susanne Jensen is more than a pastor, she says about herself, a theologian, an artist, an abuse survivor. In the film, a window is opened, so to speak, into the house of my soul. The viewers can see anything that is illuminated by the incoming light. Yeah, thank you, Susanne, for writing this.
Thank you, Susanne. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Franz. So, the film is premiering today at 5:15 at the Fevi. So please spread the word and enjoy the rest of the festival. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.